So today I will try to cover all the remaining toxicities. So the first toxicity is the Strychnos nux-vomica toxicity. So in Kannada we call it as Vishakasarka. So this Strychnos nux-vomica toxicity, it is an uncommon occurrence. So it is not a frequent toxicity. And when the Strychnos nux-vomica toxicity will happen, so whenever the strychnine or strychnos seeds, when they are used as rat baits or when they are used as rodenticide baits, see, very commonly Strychnos nux-vomica seeds, they are crushed and made as a bait, made as a biscuit like thing, and they are mainly used to kill the rats or rodents. So that will become the accidental ingestion or accidental toxicity. Or sometime there will be accidental ingestion of the strychnos seeds. See, strychnos seeds, inside the strychnos ard seed will be there, orange colored seed will be there, or green colored seed. So inside that the 5 seeds will be present in the ard strychnos seed. So ingestion of that seed will lead to this strychnos toxicity. See, and other source of Strychnos nux-vomica toxicity, when we use it in therapeutics. So where we use this strychnine, we generally use it as an appetizer or used as a ruminatoric. See, under ruminatoric we study strychnine also, right? Ruminatoric are those agents which modulate the ruminoreticular motility. So under that we studied strychnine also. So increased usage of strychnine might lead to strychnine toxicity. And intact seeds of strychnine, whether it is toxic or not. So it's a very common question. See, intact seeds of strychnine, it is not toxic. Only crushed seeds of Strychnos nux-vomica is toxic, very much similar to the Abrus precatorius seeds, if you remember. Then which is the phytotoxin that causes Strychnos nux-vomica toxicity? See, the major part of the Strychnos nux-vomica which causes toxicity, I told you, is the seeds. So seeds which contain the strychnine. So strychnine is the major phytotoxin that is present in the Strychnos nux-vomica, and it is an alkaloid. So other minor phytotoxins are vomicin, alpha and beta colubrin, pseudostrychnine, and loganin, which is a glycoside. So if in the exam the glycoside or the phytotoxin which is glycoside in nature that causes strychnine toxicity, it will be loganin. So if a alkaloid, the major alkaloid which causes strychnine toxicity, Strychnos toxicity, it will be strychnine. Okay. So brucin, you also heard about this brucin. It will be present in the leaves and also in the bark. So less toxic than the strychnine. It is also an alkaloid. Brucin is also an alkaloid. And about strychnine, see, strychnine, it is a bitter indole alkaloid, extremely stable, and can be detected in specimen years after death of the animal. Since it is extremely stable, you can detect the strychnine after years after the death of the animal. And this strychnine is extremely toxic. What do you mean by extremely toxic? Repeatedly I used to tell. So less than 1 milligram per kg body weight, causing LD50, causing 50% of mortality. And if this is the LD50 value, then that substance will be called as extremely toxic agent. So such will be the toxicity potential of the strychnine. It is extremely toxic. And what is the mechanism of action of the strychnine? See, the mechanism of action of the strychnine. So strychnine, it is a competitive glycine receptor antagonist. So glycine receptor, as you know, it is an example of inhibitory neurotransmitter. Glycine is an inhibitory neurotransmitter, very commonly present in the cerebrospinal axis, very commonly present in the spinal cord. See, in the spinal cord, so this is the motor neuron. So this is the motor neuron which supplies to the skeletal muscle. So the motor neuron which supplies to the skeletal muscle from the spinal cord, it will be innervated by a special type of interneuron. So here the interneuron. So special type of interneuron, we call it as Renshaw cells, or we call that arc as spinal arc. So what is this spinal arc? This motor neuron, it is under the control of both a positive stimulation and a negative stimulation. Okay. So the motor neuron is controlled by a negative stimulation as well as positive stimulation, and that entire setup we call it as spinal arc or Renshaw cell, or To be more precise, so it is called as recurrent inhibitory interneuron. Okay, so what is its function? This spinal arc, the function of spinal arc is, see, so it is a neurotransmitter which causes contraction of skeletal muscle, the acetylcholine. Since this is a somatic nerve, so the neurotransmitter will be acetylcholine. So this is a positive neurotransmitter, so it will act on the neuromuscular junction, brings about the contraction of the skeletal muscle. So that is a positive stimulation. See, coupled with this, meanwhile there will be a negative transmission by the release of glycine. So you know glycine is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. So what it will do, so it's an example of what kind of receptor? It's an example of ligand gated ion channel. So as and when it binds the glycine receptor, it will open the channel. So which channel will be opened here? Chloride channel will be opened. So it will cause hyperpolarization. So what do you mean by hyperpolarization? See, suppose this is a resting membrane potential. See, resting membrane potential. See, hyperpolarization is, see, this will become the hyperpolarization, more negative value. See, more negative value. See, for stimulation of any nerve, it should cross some threshold, right? See here, when glycine is acting, glycine binds to the glycine receptor, opens the chloride channel and causes the hyperpolarization, more negative value. See, this will be the normal negative value. When glycine is acted, there will be more negative value, more hyperpolarization. So what will happen here? The time the action potential takes to reach the threshold potential to cause the stimulation will be more. See, the more time it has to take to reach the threshold potential. So that's what happening here. So that's what this glycine is doing here. So when glycine is released, so whatever the acetylcholine is released and whatever it is acting to contract the skeletal muscle, it is being pulled back by the glycine. So acetylcholine has to be released in excess. See, if 100 acetylcholine neurotransmitter is causing the skeletal muscle contraction, in the presence of glycine, say 1000 acetylcholine neurotransmitter has to be released to bring out the contraction of skeletal muscle. So that's what happening in this reflex arc. So it is pulling back, glycine is pulling back. It is not allowing the normal contraction of the skeletal muscle. Very easily the skeletal muscle will not be contracted, right? So at that time, when there is strychnine toxicity, so what this strychnine will do? It is a competitive glycine receptor antagonist. So it competitively it will block the glycine receptor. See, when it blocks the glycine receptor, there will be no inhibition from the glycine. So when there is no inhibition from the glycine, just imagine the action of acetylcholine on the skeletal muscle. So acetylcholine will be continuously releasing, no pulling back by the glycine. So there will be uncontrolled excitation of the extensor skeletal muscle. So as a result, there will be extensor rigidity and there will be tonic seizures, right? So strychnine, the major mechanism of action is, it's an analog of glycine. So it's a competitive glycine receptor antagonist. And this strychnine acts by blocking the glycine receptor and producing tonic seizures. See, the same tonic seizures are the same rigidity we also see in the tetanus. So what this tetanus will do? Tetanus acts by inhibiting the release of the glycine. Say, glycine has to be released from the presynaptic nerve terminal. That release of glycine itself will be withheld by the tetanus. Whereas strychnine, glycine will be released from the presynaptic nerve terminal. But instead of glycine binding to the glycine receptor, the strychnine is binding to the glycine receptor and blocking the action of glycine. So that is a too subtle difference between the action of strychnine and the tetanus. Okay, that we should bear it in mind. Did you understand the mechanism of action? So if you don't understand, you can repeat it. The video you can repeat. Okay. So the clinical signs. So what are the clinical signs that we see in strychnine toxicity? So it appears within 10 minutes to 2 hours. So the clinical signs, generally there will be nervousness, restlessness, muscle tremors, hyperirritability, tonic spasm. See, hyperirritability and tonic spasm due to external stimuli. So whenever you touch the animal, or whenever you make a sound, or whenever you bell, or whenever you touch the utensils, so the animal will be excited too much. So there will be hyperirritability, tonic spasm. So as the condition progresses, the muscle twitching also continues and there will be continuous tetanic seizures with tetanic rigidity. So there will be extensive extensor muscle rigidity. So if the hand will be like this, so the hand will be like this only. The hand will be rigid like this only. Extensor muscle rigidity will be there. So that term you call it as skeletal muscle contract antagonistically. See, very commonly asked question. See, skeletal muscle contract antagonistically in case of strychnine toxicity. True or false? So what is the answer? True. It contracts antagonistically. Why it contract antagonistically? See, contraction is like this. See, antagonistically is like this, rigidity. It is going like this. So there is an extensor muscle, rigidity is there. So skeletal muscle contract antagonistically. So limbs will be extended and there will be opisthotonus. Opisthotonus is the neck will be extended backwards and upwards. So limbs will be extended, opisthotonus. So it will be doing some yogasana like posture. So if you imagine, and the overall picture will be the animal will look like a typical saw horse posture. So saw horse posture. So saw horse posture is, see, Marat Kudre nodirtilla. So like that it will be there. So such a rigidity will be there. So the pupil dilated, then asphyxia. Due to asphyxia, the death of the animal, and the asphyxia is mainly due to the respiratory muscle paralysis. Diaphragmatic muscle also get paralyzed. Diaphragmatic muscle will also get rigid, so it cannot contract. It cannot do its function. So this will be the clinical sign. The very important one is extensor muscle rigidity, hyperirritability, tonic spasm, and skeletal muscle contract antagonistically. Okay. And in the human beings, there is a condition called as rhesus sardonicus. So rhesus sardonicus, it is a condition seen in human beings where if a person starts smiling, so he will be in that posture for a longer time. So he will be smiling for a longer time because the angle of the mouth, the muscles involved in the angle of mouth, there will be extensor rigidity. So it will be in this state only. So it appears as if the person is smiling. Indeed, he is not smiling. What to do? His muscles are being rigid, so it looks as if the person is smiling. You Google rhesus sardonicus, you will see the posture of rhesus sardonicus. So the Alexander the Great, the death of Alexander the Great, one of the theory put forward is the strychnine toxicity. He died due to strychnine toxicity. One of the theory they put forward. And the postmortem sign, non-specific postmortem findings. And diagnosis, see, through history, clinical signs, myoglobinuria. Due to convulsion there will be myoglobinuria. Then detection of strychnine in the urine, important. And detection of the samples, so detection of strychnine in the samples being liver, kidney, GIT contents. And you can inoculate strychnine that is present in the urine sample to the peritoneum of the frog. The frog will also suffer from similar tonic seizures. So if there is tonic seizures in the frog, so it is a confirmatory for strychnine toxicity. Nowadays we don't use frog. Instead of frog, we can use it for guinea pigs now. So you can use it for guinea pigs. If you find the same convulsion, so it is a confirmative diagnosis for strychnine toxicity. And the treatment, so you have to tie the animal in a quiet environment. So because hyper irritable in nature, so you can use skeletal muscle relaxant, extensor rigidity is there, convulsion is there, tonic convulsion, anticonvulsants you have to use. So anticonvulsant, skeletal muscle relaxant, both the job will be done by the diazepam. It does multiple action. So diazepam, so it is the preferred drug in case of strychnine toxicity. And you have to maintain the function of the vital organ. It is also one of the general principles in treatment of poisoning that we have to do in the strychnine toxicity. So what are the assignment question? So take a picture of Strychnus nux vomica plant. So if it is there in your surrounding, take a picture of Strychnus nux vomica plant. So many of you have not seen the Strychnus nux vomica. So if some people have access to Strychnus nux vomica plant, take a picture of it and its seed also specifically. And DASH is the phytotoxin of Strychnus nux vomica. Mechanism of strychnine is by inhibition of DASH. Rhesus sardonicus in human beings is feature of DASH phytotoxicity. And next is the plant containing pyrrolizidine alkaloid. See, plants containing pyrrolizidine alkaloid. Where else we studied about these plants containing pyrrolizidine alkaloid? The plants causing photosensitization. So which are the plant which contain pyrrolizidine alkaloid? Senecio, Heliotropium, Crotalaria. So Senecio, the important species is Senecia vulgaris, and Heliotropium indicum, and Crotalaria dura. So it is the phytotoxin present in the Senecio, or the pyrrolizidine alkaloid that is present in the Senecio. It is called as retrosin. And in the Heliotropium, it is called as heliotrin, and in Crotalaria, it is called as monocrotalin. And this pyrrolizidine alkaloid, so under photosensitization only we have studied, so it is hepatotoxic in nature. So what type of photosensitization is caused by this plant? It causes primary photosensitization. So if you remember, it causes secondary photosensitization. So these plants containing pyrrolizidine alkaloid, it causes secondary photosensitization. See, under secondary photosensitization, I told you what is the prerequisite for secondary photosensitization. Either there should be liver damage or there should be bile duct occlusion. So here it will be caused by this pyrrolizidine alkaloid. The pyrrolizidine alkaloid mainly causes liver damage rather than bile duct occlusion. And other effects of pyrrolizidine alkaloids are the minor effects being it causes pneumotoxicity, it causes nephrotoxicity. So that is about plants containing pyrrolizidine alkaloid. So it will be the assignment question. Dash is an example of plant containing pyrrolizidine. Dash type of photosensitization caused by pyrrolizidine alkaloid. So the picture about Senecio, Heliotropium, Crotalaria displayed after this video. Then argemone toxicity. See, argemone toxicity, it is also called as Mexican poppy or prickly poppy. In Kannada we call it as Arishina datturi. Datturi ಗಿಡದ ಥರನೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಆದರೆ yellow color flowers ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Argemone toxicity very commonly seen weeds in the India. So the genus is Argemone mexicana. So which is the very important thing about argemone toxicity? It is the adulteration of argemone oil. We extract argemone oil from argemone seeds. So during this argemone oil very commonly used as an adulterant for mustard oil. See, mustard oil, so in place of mustard oil, the people use argemone oil as an adulterant, as a cheapest source. See, mustard oil generally use it for cooking, and also to welcome the newlywed couple, they use this mustard oil in North India. Very commonly used in North India, in eastern parts of India, in West Bengal, Bangladesh, very commonly they use this mustard oil. Like coconut oil in case of Kerala, see, Bengal, West Bengal and northeastern Indian people, they commonly use this mustard oil. So in that time they use this argemone oil as a adulterant. And there was an incident that was happened during 1990s in New Delhi, and that incident was called as epidemic dropsy. So epidemic dropsy, it was mainly due to the adulteration of adulteration of this mustard oil with the argemone oil. So which is the phytotoxin that causes argemone toxicity? The phytotoxin being isoquinoline alkaloid. So which is the isoquinoline alkaloid? Sanguinarine. So sanguinarine is the phytotoxin of Argemone mexicana. So it very commonly affects human beings, rarely affects animal. So in human beings, what are the things that we see in epidemic dropsy? The condition is called as epidemic dropsy. So it causes bilateral pitting edema of the extremities, the photo of which will be displayed after the video. So there will be bilateral pitting edema of the extremities, very characteristic feature. Then there will be GIT upset, cardiopathy, glycoma, and very frequently in epidemic dropsy there will be loss of protein, especially there will be albuminuria. So due to a loss of protein, albuminuria, this edema condition will be there. Bilateral pitting edema is very common. And in animals, poultry are affected worst. So if argemone seeds are adulterated with this poultry feed, so there will be drop in the egg production, there will be edema, cyanosis of the combs. So which are the assignment question for argemone toxicity? Epidemic dropsy is due to dash toxicity. Phytotoxin present in the argemone toxicity is dash. Take a picture of argemone plant. It is very commonly seen in surrounding areas. So in surrounding areas it is very commonly seen weed, so the picture of which will be displayed. So then the remaining plant toxicity, the first one being Crotalaria or Bottom's disease or Kimberley horse disease. See, very commonly for exam sake, these small chapters will be there, toxicities. This Crotalaria toxicity, it comes under plants containing pyrrolizidine alkaloid. If you remember, very commonly affects horses. The clinical features are, there will be anning, drowsiness, staggering will be there. Two types of stagger will be there. One is sleepy staggers, walking disease. Both are the same. Both are referred to as Bottom's disease or Kimberley horse disease or Crotalaria toxicity. So since animal feels sleepy and always head will be held down in the horses, it is also called as sleepy staggers. Since it is common in bottom land, so if it is hilly area, so in the base of the hilly area, this Crotalaria toxicity is very common. So that's why it is very common in bottom land. That's why the name Bottom's disease. So it is the phytotoxin, nothing to do with any other bottom. So phytotoxin is pyrrolizidine alkaloid. So phytotoxin mainly present is pyrrolizidine alkaloids. And the next toxicity is Calotropis toxicity. Calotropis, also called as milkweed, also called as kalligida ಅಥವಾ ekkad gida. So very commonly used for the religious purpose. We use this Calotropis. So in our home, they will not allow to prick this, they are not allowed to remove Calotropis plant also, such a religious thing attached to Calotropis plant. So the main genus is Calotropis gigantea. So intentional killing will be more. So you might have heard in film, in many movies, they have shown the milk out of Calotropis, they will mix it with milk and give it to the heroine will die. So many things will happen from Calotropis. So it is more used as an intentional or malicious poison. So it is the phytotoxin of Calotropis. The phytotoxins are calotroxin, calactin, asherin, gigantin. So mainly causes skin irritation and mucous membrane. So ekkad ಗಿಡದ ಹಾಲು ಕುಡಿದ್ಬಿಟ್ರು ಮಗು ಏನಾಯಿತು ಅಥವಾ ekkad ಗಿಡ ತಿಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟ ಮಗು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, it will cause skin irritation if it is touched, that milk is touched, or skin irritation, mucous membrane allergy will be there, or if it is drunk, or if any animal eat this Calotropis leaves, there will be acute gastroenteritis. If there is more ingestion, there will be severe gastroenteritis. And very important effect of Calotropis is if there is death of the animal, so mainly it will be due to cardiotoxicity. It will affect the heart. So due to cardiotoxicity, due to acute gastroenteritis, the death of the animal will be there. These two things are very important. If it has been ingested, there will be acute gastroenteritis, there will be cardiotoxicity. Rarely you might come across this toxicity also, since it is very commonly available, Calotropis plant. So even though commonly available, the animals won't eat. So during drought, if it eats this Calotropis plant, you should think about these two causes. Okay. Then third one is Conium maculatum or en bloc toxicity. So here the phytotoxins are conine and pyridine alkaloid. Roots and seeds are more toxic. See, acute toxicity, there will be sudden death or salivation, emesis, diarrhea, muscle tremors, weakness, convulsion. The important thing about conium toxicity or en bloc toxicity is there will be mousy odor of urine or mousy odor of exhaled air, which is the only very important thing about conium toxicity or en bloc toxicity. Nothing more important as far as practical field level is concerned. So in field, very commonly seen toxicity in northern parts of Karnataka is onion or allium toxicity. So very commonly you come across the cattle has eaten the onion plants. So what to do, the doctor what to do? So very commonly seen the onion toxicity in northern parts of Karnataka. See, all parts of the plant are toxic, which is the phytotoxin which causes onion toxicity, N-propyl disulfide. Sometime it might also be asked in the exam. For field level, it is very important. For exam, I don't know they will ask it or not. But as a veterinarian, you should know the phytotoxin of onion is N-propyl disulfide. So cattle, dogs are more susceptible. Human beings are not susceptible, so less susceptible. That's why we we use this onion, raw onion we use, cooked onion we use. For everything we use this onion, right? So what is a very important clinical sign of onion toxicity? If you ask any veterinarian in northern parts of Karnataka, they come across this onion toxicity. So what the cattle will show, there will be hemoglobinuria, there will be anemia, there will be icterus, intravascular hemolysis and cyanosis. So what the veterinarian will do at that time, they will go for blood transfusion. See, they say ready-made picture. So there will be hemoglobinuria, they will think of onion toxicity. So if there is onion toxicity, they will go for directly blood transfusion. Then what are the assignment question? The phytotoxin of calotropis, M-Log and onion are dash, dash and dash respectively. Mousy odor in the urine is characteristic feature of dash toxicity. Okay, so all the assignment questions you have to answer it in the comment section. Very few answers are coming in the comment section, so please watch the video. So please go through these topics. So at the fag end of the exam, so don't go in a hurry. So many subjects you have to cover. So read now only and try to write the assignment questions in the comment section. So that completes the phytotoxicity. So what are the toxicity that we have completed so far? So we completed cyanide toxicity, plants containing lectin toxalbumin, photosensitization we covered, Bracken-Fern poisoning, hypomia, Nerium species, Datura and related species, today strychnine toxicity, then oxalates toxicity, oak or quercus toxicity, then eupatorium toxicity, then latherism we have covered, argemone toxicity today we have covered, calotropis is over, gossypal toxicity, plants containing pyrrolizidine alkaloid, then crotalaria toxicity also, then the onion toxicity. So all the phytotoxicity we have completed. So in the next class we shall start with the pesticides, the toxicity due to pesticides. Okay, read well.